This deck is probably one of the best rogue decks this format. What is up, guys? This is Tcg Sam here, and I'm coming at you guys today with my undefeated 601 at Ignister deck that I played at locals and a win and mat tournament. I went undefeated in both of them. I'm just be going over my list. So if you guys enjoy this type of content, be sure to let me know by leaving a like, commenting, and subscribing. But that being said, let's just hop straight into it. So for the starters, we are playing triple copies of Tcg, Picari, I Meet You, Silent Mining, and Desires. So essentially the goal of this deck is to set up the big Link 6 turn 1 and OTK your opponent with access code turn 2. And essentially all these 12 cards get you to that end goal just alone, which make them incredibly good one-card starters. Aside from like Silent Mining, it's like 1.5 cards, but it's the same result. Honestly, these cards are just incredible. It allows you to play so many non-engine because like just these cards alone just grab you your entire full combo, which is just honestly crazy to think about. Pot of Desires, most lists actually don't play this. I quite like this card in this deck actually. There aren't too many like significant cards that you banish that'll hurt you like a lot. Aside from like maybe one. But yeah, you just want as many starters as possible. 14 starters is a pretty good number, I feel. 14 definitely makes it so you draw them enough going first, and going second, like you'll definitely have enough because you'll have 6 cards in your hand. Alright, so that's it for the starters. We're going to be moving on to the extenders now. We are playing 2 copies of Doyon, 1 Baruru, 1 Hiyari, and 1 Gachiri. So double Doyon is needed because you do play Desires. This is like the one that you can't banish, because if you banish it, it makes your turn a lot worse. This card just gives you all your follow-up and the extension that you need, so you definitely want to play 2. 2 also comes up like in grindier games once you go past turn 1. Having the second run deck really helps a lot. 1 copy of Baruru. Baruru's really good at setting up your win picks at Ignister. Hiyari, Gachiri are just extenders in your hand. Hiyari is good because it's the water, it's different from everything else. Hiyari's effect also comes up where you can search Gachiri, and Gachiri is the best extender to use because you're able to make whatever you link summon with it unaffected. So that's it for the Ignister extender monsters. We are playing triple copies of Island. I definitely think you need 3. For those people who know how to play against this deck should hand trap the Link 1, Dark Infant. So hard drawing this helps you play around it a lot. Of course, you also need 3 so you don't banish them off Desires, but just having 1 is really good because you can keep looping it if they can destroy it by resetting it. But yeah, just having hard drawing this card is very important for when your opponent actually has a way to stop your Dark Infant. It makes it so your plays can still go through even if that gets stopped. I only play 3, I don't play Terraforming. I think 3 is the perfect number. I found myself like seeing it the right amount, and also just not seeing it the right amount as well. So 3 is just the number that I think works out really well. I am just playing 1 copy of Idle Reborn as the last AI Speller Trap. This is the only other AI Speller Trap I play, and I think this is a little not standard. People usually play the other Reborn. I found that it really didn't matter too much. The other Reborn was kind of like a brick most of the time in my hand, because I already needed to be playing for it to be good. Like the only bad thing about playing this is just like if you banish off Desires, you do lose a bit of utility off your Picari, because searching an extra island isn't doing anything, and I Meet You once per turn only. So I guess losing this does hurt a bit, but it's not the end of the world. You definitely don't need it for your combo. It's just a good recovery option to search off of your Picari. I think 1 was definitely sufficient. If you want, you can play more, but like I said, Idle Reborn I just think is good at 1. So that's it for the Ignister engine. Now for the non-engine. This is kind of like the biggest reason to why this deck is actually pretty good. 3 Imperm, 3 Droplet, 3 Crow, 3 Droll, 3 Nib, and the Call by the Grave. So essentially, the way I categorize these cards is like I wanted cards that either would just completely end my opponent's turn if they resolve, so like Nibiru and Droll, so these cards have the potential to do something like that, or cards that were like good to draw like even as your 6th card, which increases the chances of you seeing a going second card. So of course Imperm is very good going second as well. If you draw your 6th card, you're able to trade 1 for 1 with interruptions. If it didn't Droplet, honestly it's just insane. This card is like just nuts. You're able to break entire like combo boards with just this 1 card alone, because you only need 1 card to actually play, so you can just get rid of almost your entire hand and you'll still be good. DD Crow, I really like this card. Not only is it very good against something like Despia, it's also good against those Scythe decks. So a lot of the times against those Scythe decks, you're gonna be like throwing stuff at them, so you might have like one other hand trap like Nib or Droll or Imperm. That's gonna make it so their end board's weaker. Even if they have a Scythe against you, like DD Crow is just incredible to stop the Scythe. So that's the big reason why I played it. DD Crow is also like decent in like most other matchups. Like even in Sword Soul, it's like okay. Against like Eldritch, it's okay. You can always side it out if it's not good. The only real matchup it's just awful in is Flanders. But like you just have to kind of accept like it won't be good in that matchup. You just take it out the next game. Maining Nibiru, next thing I'm going to talk about. I really like this. I prepared this deck to beat combo. So those like Punk Therion, Punk ABC, sorry, not Therion ABC, like Punk Adventure. Like this card is very good against the combo decks right now. Nibiru definitely, every time I saw it, I felt super safe. It doesn't matter if you clear your own board, because one, the towers is unaffected, but even if you don't have towers, like you just build it again next turn and kill them, so it doesn't matter. Droll Knockbird. This is like the best card, honestly the best card in my deck in like both events I played. This just hits pretty much everything in the meta, like even against something like Despia or Sword Soul, like you can still have some applications and be good in some scenarios. So if your opponent starts with Patchwork, if they go Allure, or in Sword Soul if they start with something like Desires or something, like it's actually not bad. Of course, in those matchups you can take it out games 2 and 3, but the big reason I played this, like I said, was to beat those Punk combo decks. This card's just insane against them. It just can just completely end their turn, and then you just kill them next turn. Droll Knockbird's very good in these types of decks where like you can just kill after you droll them, and this is definitely a deck that you can do it in. Call by the Grave, of course, is a very good going first card, and going second card stops Scythe, stops like hand traps. This is a very, very, very good card. Not much to say about that. Finally, the engine requirement, 1 copy of Danmari. This card is a brick. I always side it out going second because it's not going to do anything. You don't need it for your main combo. It's only there for going first. The reason, like I considered cutting it really, because a lot of the times, like if I see it, it's just really just a dead card. But I think you need it when going first, because a lot of decks will have at least one out that they're playing in like access code or something. Just being able to stop that access code to just make it so you just win. But you definitely side this out going second because it's just not going to do anything for you. So that's it for the main 40 cards. You will notice I'm not playing an Out to Mystic Mine in the main deck. I think that was a mistake. I probably should have. So I would consider putting in 1 Harpy's Feather Duster in the future. I just wouldn't know what to take out because I felt that everything was incredibly good. There wasn't really anything I felt that I wanted to cut, and I didn't really want to play 41, but I think it's correct to put in that 41st card just so you don't auto lose game 1 to mine after you set up your board. Just because Danmari alone is enough. Like all Danmari can stop is terraforming or set rotation, but your opponent has 3 copies of mine, then you're not going to be able to do much about that. So yeah, like I said, 40 for the main deck. Going into the extra deck, 2 copies of Dark Infant. 2 copies I think is absolutely enough. I never found myself needing a third. Even in the grind game, as long as you don't like mindlessly waste them, you'll definitely be able to get through with just 1 resolve. You only need 1 to resolve because once that island hits the board, it's usually gonna stick. Definitely, you definitely need at least 2 because you use 2 in the 6 material combo. But yeah, this is a very, very strong card. If you're playing against this deck, you definitely should hand trap this. 1 copy of Link Spider. This card is actually insane. I got Nibiru quite a few times in the tournaments, and like every time I was like, okay, I'm about to threaten to make an access code or a Link 6, and they nibbed me. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I could still make Link Spider and keep playing from there, just because I had so many extenders, and then you can make like Heat Soul and just continue from there. Next up for the Link 2s, 2 copies of Splash Mage. 2 definitely comes up, 1 for your regular combo and 1 for the follow-up OTK. 1 copy of Cyberse Wicked. This is just to grab access to your copy of Bururu. Very important for your combo. Next up, Update Jammer. This card is just insane, honestly. Having access to just a very easy card that lets you OTK your opponent, it's just so nice. Your opponent, like this plus access code is just game on its own. So honestly, just incredible that like a single card in your deck can get you that access code Update Jammer OTK. For the Link 3s, 1 copy of Transcode. I do usually like playing 2 copies, but I couldn't find the space for this one. 1 was definitely good. I never found myself needing more than 1. It's just like a nice to have thing. It's also good because you can reveal it off I Meet You to search Kachiri as an extender. That's like the 1 extender that you can actually search off I Meet You, because we don't have the water in the extra deck. You can't search a Hiyari. One Dark Templar. This is needed for your regular combo going first. It's a really good card. The Ogre is also not in this format anymore, so Dark Templar is pretty good. Never really gets hit by that. One copy of Deco Talker Heat Soul. This card is insane. You reveal it for I Meet You, but also it's like a very solid plan B if you get hand trapped or if your hand isn't that good. Deco Talker Heat Soul drawing into going second cards. It's definitely not a bad game plan. Next up, I am playing 2 copies of Access Code Talker. Shout out to Alex from the University of Waterloo Yu-Gi-Oh Club for lending me this. What's crazy is I would have gone 7-0 if I had this in the first event that I played in at locals. Just because I made the first one with Update Jammer, went battle phase, he nibbed me. I had the resources to actually make the second one, to actually go for a game, but unfortunately, like, I just didn't have another link for my extra deck. I was playing something else at the time, and then I just lost the next turn, and that caused me to draw. So if I had this, I would have been able to win. But yeah, double access code actually shockingly does come up more than you would expect. So especially going second post siding, when you put a card like Dark Ruler, you can't kill your opponent. So being able to clear their whole board with access code and not worrying about if your access code dies or not, like, you always just have another one, which makes it very good. But yeah, access code, like I mentioned, you can play through Nibiru sometimes if your hand has like enough extenders post turn 1, and that's going to happen a lot. You're just going to be able to make access code talker for second 1 very easily, and I think 2 definitely is, it's the good enough to play. If you guys really can't afford the second one, you can play like another cyberse link 4 in here instead. So think about something like Topologic Bomber Dragon, Topologic Zeraboros. Those are options I was considering too if I didn't have access to the second one. Of course, one arrival cyberse at Ignister. This is your big boss monster. You'd be surprised, like, a lot of decks actually don't have an out to this, or a very viable out to it. Well, and once you're throwing hand traps at them and stuff like it, they're just never getting to that out, and this card's just gonna stick on the board. I think it got outed like once, but my opponent was like so far had an advantage. He was just able to make like an Equimax pointing to this and just kill it. I also got Kaiju'd once, but that was against like a rogue deck, so it's whatever. Most meta decks aren't playing Kaiju, so yeah, this is just gonna stick a lot of times. One copy of Wind Pegasus at Ignister. This is definitely the correct one to play. It's honestly insane. I never used its spell trap destroying effect, but having it in the graveyard makes it so even if your opponent outs any of your board, you trade very well by getting rid of any one of their monsters. And that makes it so hard for them to play. And the final 15th card, this was actually something that I was really excited to discover. That's Brute Enforcer. So what Brute Enforcer does is it takes 2 effect monsters, and you can discard 1 card, target 1 face-up card your opponent controls, and then you attempt to destroy it, and if your opponent discards the same type of card, so monster, spell, or trap, they can negate it. Essentially, Brute Enforcer makes it so you have a generic cyberse link monster. This is something you need because you're playing Nibiru. You need to be able to link off the Nibiru to keep playing, so that fulfills that role. But also the big thing about this card is it outs Zombie World. So Zombie World is a very common side right now, and being able to summon this, you're still able to actually summon this and do continue doing your regular combo as if like nothing happened with your 1-card starters. You can just discard this, attempt to pop the Zombie World, and that just should completely out it, and then you should be good to go from there. I mean, if your opponent does have a spell to negate it, there's nothing you can really do about it, so this card isn't perfect by any means, but I really liked having this as a flex slot because not only does it allow you to out something like that, it also, funnily enough, gives you an easy way to out like a big nib token if your opponent doesn't have a monster in hand, because you just take 2 monsters and a card, you can just pop the nib token. But yeah, Brute Enforcer mainly here for the generic cyberse link monster that you need in order to, if you're playing nib, but also, like I said, out Zombie World. And honestly, I was super like stoked when I discovered this card. I don't really see any other lists playing it. I definitely think it's pretty good in theory. I never got to, I used it like once to try to out a nib token and go for game, but my opponent had a monster, so it was unfortunate. But so yeah, definitely this card isn't perfect, but it's definitely a very good way to have a potential out to Zombie World. So next up for the side deck, I am playing Triple Dark Ruler. This is actually the only monster hate that I play in my side deck, just because my main deck's already geared towards beating those very combo heavy punk decks. Every card in my main deck, like hand trap in my main deck, is like perfect for that. I felt like I didn't need token collectors. I didn't need like any extra like gammas or anything. Like just Dark Ruler was good. I swap out 3 cards, put in Dark Rulers. I have 18 or 19 with Call by the Grave going second cards. So over like almost half my deck is just going second cards at that point. So I felt like Dark Ruler was sufficient, and from my experience, it definitely was. Just Dark Ruler definitely very good against those combo decks right now. Even if you don't kill them, you can access clear their board and then set up like a Deco Talker Heat Soul, and then you should just be able to win from there because those combo decks usually don't have too much follow-up. For the back row removal, 1 Heartbeats, like I said, I probably should be maining this just to have an optimistic mind. 3 Cosmic, 1 Reboot, so very standard back row removal. You absolutely need these. You don't want to play Twin because getting rid of 2, you do have cards that get rid of stuff, so like Silent Mining and Droplets. You don't really want to use Twin for that, but Cosmic, just insane card, honestly. Next up, triple copies that evenly matched. Evenly is here for those like mid-range / back row decks that don't put up like specifically Scythe. So against like Fluanderies, against like I don't know, Tri-Brigade, Lyrilla, stuff like that. Stuff that doesn't put up hard negates. And like even against Branded Despia. Essentially, I was looking for a card that would hit those like Fluanderies and Despia specifically, just because Nib and Crow were just terrible against them. Sorry, Nib and Droll were terrible against Despia, and then like Crow and Nib were terrible against Fluandery, so I wanted a card to hit them. Of course, it's also good at hitting back row, but yeah, this is mainly here for those matchups. You definitely struggle a bit more with those than like the combo matchups, just because some of your hand traps are going to be dead. And then finally, triple copies of Dimensional Barrier and 1 copy of Trap Trick. This is the 15th card. I couldn't think of a 15th card to put in, so I decided a 4th copy of Dimensional Barrier wasn't too bad. I actually never had the opportunity to like use it. I sided it in, but I didn't see it. But yeah, in theory, it's like really good against those punk synchro decks. Like just going first, being able to set up your board, and like if you can back it up with a D-barrier, yeah, your opponent's not playing through that. So yeah, pretty good. That's it for the side deck. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought about this deck profile in the comment section below. I definitely think this deck is a pretty great rogue deck. A lot of people aren't prepared for it. They don't know how to hand trap it properly. Like, I think I got hand trapped properly like maybe once or twice out of all the times I got hand trapped. Like, people would like do it on the normal summon of my monster, and I'd be like, okay, cool. As long as I have another monster in hand, I can keep playing as long as I get the field spell. So yeah, just you'll catch a lot of people off guard as well with the Link 6. They won't have an out to it, so you should just auto win some games as well. But also the big reason why I love this deck is because it has the access to the cyberse toolbox. The cyberse Link monsters honestly are just some of the most insane like generic Link monsters in terms of cyberse. Splash Mage is just a monster reborn, Transcode's another monster reborn, and then hey, off of 2 monsters you have an access code talker, which is just insane honestly in a cyberse deck. But yeah, let me know once again what you guys thought about it in the comment section below, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Take care.